It's already been 1 year, exactly 1 year to this very day it happened. The day I lost my baby brother. I've tried and tried to accept what happened and forgive myself, but it's still eating away at my very soul. I see the hate in my family's eyes. It clearly says to me, what did you do to him? And it should have been you, not him. The law ain't got nothing to go on, so they're sticking with it's a case of swamp gas hallucinations as their explanation for what I saw. But we both know they'll use any excuse to throw me behind bars. The folks around here are always running their mouth to the sheriff. Well, they say, how long you gonna let that boy get away with it? And you know what he done to his little brother. That boy is guilty. He's as guilty as the gator is dry. People sure do like to talk. The only thing they like to do more is pass judgment on others. Guilty until proven innocent, or so they say. So I know it's rather pointless, but I went and got me one of them fancy phones that take pictures and videos, and I'm going to record everything. Then I'm going to put it on the lines in hopes that sharing what happened for all to see will bring me some peace and maybe a bit of retribution. My brother John and I had a powerful and unbreakable bond, beyond what most siblings had. I reckon it was because we only had each other. Growing up here in the middle of nowhere in southern Louisiana ain't the place where large social circles are a common commodity. Our mama raised us all by her lonesome. She was a strong woman, and she provided for us like a father. She worked us like a taskmaster and schooled us like a teacher. Our daddy disappeared when we were very young. He left the house one day, like he always did, and never came back. Our mama says he took off with some younger woman, but I'm pretty sure now that ain't exactly accurate. 1 year ago today, we decided to take our little boat out through the swamp in hopes of snagging ourselves a gator. John and I always loved hunting. There ain't nothing more exhilarating than bagging a big old gator. We could eat off its meat for a week and fashion its carcass into all sorts of things. Jewelry, tools, necklaces from the teeth, and daggers from the bones. Then we'd turn around and sell the skin for a pretty penny. We'd been out for a while, roaming around. The cold nighttime air met the hot, humid swamp air, creating a very peculiar atmosphere. We've done this many times and knew the 3-mile radius around our property like the back of our hands. But tonight, we had our minds set on going further than we've ever gone before. The boat we're on ain't the fastest means of transportation, but it works. We were experts at swerving around protruding stumps, trees, and the occasional rock that poked out of the murky green water. The sudden movement of water rocked our tiny boat. It was a gator. The time we had been waiting for was right there. My brother rode closer, and I readied myself for when we were in striking distance. If we could get close enough, I'd jab it in the head using a long-barreled bang stick chambered with a hollow point .357 Magnum round. I made sure my .45 revolver was ready too, just in case. Well, that green sumbitch paid us no attention and continued to swim north. The sun was setting as my brother gazed out towards the marsh, where it opened up into the mouth of another channel, that led deeper into the bog. I looked to see what had held his gaze with such intensity, and I couldn't believe what I saw. Standing on a small island were two people, just staring at us with mouths open and agape. Their eyes were wide and blank. The most disturbing aspect of the scene was their outstretched arms, with their palms facing out as if they were mimicking the Lord Jesus Christ himself. Between them was a glowing object that neither of us could make out what it was. It shimmered with such a ghostly glow, it was obvious no man had fashioned this object. "Hey!" I yelled to the two men. There was no response. They didn't even move, blink, shift, or anything. "Let's get out of here," I said to John, but he didn't reply. We slowly continued to drift past the two men. The only change was their heads gradually turning to keep their blank stares on us. "I've had enough. Let's get the hell out of here," I spoke up. Again, I got no answer from John. He just stared blankly back at the small island. "John!" I yelled, but no response. Before I could grab my paddle, the swamp went silent. It was such an abrupt silence, it startled me. 1 second, frogs croaking, bugs chittering, crickets chirping, then nothing. Something was approaching. It slowly rose out of the water. It appeared to be black hair emerging from the water, which was followed by the top of a head. I was expecting to see a person, but I was wrong. Walking out from the murky water was something I had never seen before. It was tall, probably 7 or 8 foot. It had long black hair. Its dark eyes looked foggy, and they slanted down its face at an angle. Its head was narrow and sharp, like it had been starved. It terrified me. The creature walked up to the island, and the two people shot one last look at me. This time it was different. I saw tears and absolute fear suppressed by their blank stares. It was like their human instinct was trying to prevail over whatever trance they were under. But it was to no avail. The creature grabbed both men, one in each arm, and returned to the dark waters. I saw bubbles emerging for a little bit when their heads were submerged. I was about to start paddling when John unexpectedly attempted to leap out of the canoe and into the waters. I grabbed him and he struggled to escape my grip, fixated on the direction of that island. "What are you doing?" I yelled. His head slowly turned around as he gave me a blank stare, and his mouth slowly began to open, just like them two men I saw disappear. Now I'm sure you don't believe me, but I saw what I saw. If someone had told me this story, I wouldn't have believed them either. I yelled to John, "We need to get out of here, now!" Suddenly that blank stare lifted, and it was John again, my little brother. With deep sadness in his eyes, he said, "It's okay. You have to let me go." I said, "No, we have to go now. We have to get out of here, together." I saw the blank stare return for the briefest moment. Then the sadness overcame his eyes once again, though not as intense. And he said, "It's gonna be all right. You have to let me go." There isn't much time. Promise me, Jimmy. Promise that you'll let me go and not look back. Don't you dare look back. Promise me. Tears began to flow from my eyes. John spoke with such determination. Promise me. You promise right this second. I did as he said. And let go. He immediately began to swim, then walked on the shores of the island. But not before he turned once more and said, I love you. And then turned back and approached a glowing object, which flashed a red color, then returned to its white shine. John, I cried, but he just stared at me. I turned and rode frantically as I fled. I went home and told my mama all about it, but she didn't believe me. She kept telling me to tell her the truth. After retelling the strange event over and over again, she called the police. They searched that whole area for days and days and never found a thing. My mama never forgave me. I could see it in her eyes. She blamed me. She knew in her heart her youngest child had met his ends from foul hands. She believed those hands were mine. She told me she couldn't stand to look upon me. She said she can't hear them lies coming from my mouth anymore, and demanded I leave her house and never step foot on her property again. I've been living by myself for the past year. I just wanted to get my story told. I think my brother saved my life that night. I believe he kept its attention on him so I could get away. I'm tired of living in fear. I have had enough of this guilt and pain. I'm gonna find that light and see if it will take me. I think I figured out what it's for, what it does. Maybe the light is there so it doesn't hurt when it comes for you. It makes it a little bit less terrifying when you go under. Maybe it makes you not care when it slices into the soft parts of you. However, I have a sneaky suspicion that light ain't gonna do nothing to me. Just like before, I don't think it can put me under its spell. If that's the case, then I have my 45 too. I'll aim my gun real careful like towards the water and wait for that god-awful face to emerge from it. One way or another, I will make my baby brother proud. That I promise you.